I'd like to say a huge thank you to Roger from the Expedition Project for setting this all up and for allowing me to speak to you guys and just talk a little bit more about our project. So yeah, let me just introduce myself first. Hi, I'm Julia Rukheimer. I'm the current coordinator of the Zululand Rhino Orphanage. So today I'm going to be speaking about a little bit about the orphanage and what it is that we do. So yeah, let me just jump right into first the orphanage side of things and then kind of how I got to where I am. So the orphanage started in 2017. We were opened up by the Zululand Conservation Trust. So we were kind of born from tragedy. It is quite a sad story how we started. There was another regional orphanage, and this orphanage was actually attacked by poachers. So after this happened, their security was obviously extremely compromised, and so because of that, they needed an urgent place to send the surviving orphans, and they needed somewhere to send these rhinos as soon as they could to finish their rehabilitation process. And so that is when the Zululand Conservation Trust actually decided to take this onto themselves and to take on the project and the costs and to open up the Zululand Rhino Orphanage. So within a few weeks we started building, and they got the area prepared, they got staff members, got our bomas set up, and then got ready for the animals to come through and move to us. Okay, so currently under our care we have 7 animals. We have 5 white rhino calves as well as 2 hippo orphans. And yeah, these guys are ranging. Our youngest rhino is about 8 months now, and she is our newest little baby. She came to us in January. And then our oldest rhino, she is nearly 4 years old. She's about 3 years and 11 months now, and we're actually preparing her for her release, and we're hoping that she can possibly be released with her mate. She's very closely bonded to one of our other rhinos, and we're hoping that these 2 individuals will be released when next summer comes. So yeah, of course, just a little bit about us is, of course, our main aim is to completely rehabilitate these animals and put them back in the wild. The reason behind rehabilitation, or the goal behind rehabilitation, is always to actually release the animals back into the wild, and so that is the plan for all of our animals, both our white rhinos and our hippos. Other animals that were recently in our care is we did have a black rhino. He has since been released, and we do still do some post monitoring with him. So although he is free and wild, we do go and track him and just make sure he's okay. This will be his 2nd winter now. So last winter it was a lot more hands-on, a lot more feeding him. He's been out just over a year now. So yes, last winter we would be finding him almost every day, just to give him some supplement food and make sure that he's doing alright. And now that he's kind of set up his own area and he's got his own territory, we are a lot more happy and confident with how he's doing, and so we've done, taken a step back, and we only track him, once every week to 2 weeks, just to make sure he's still in good condition and all of that, and we're very happy that he's doing extremely well. But yeah, that's kind of the orphanage and its setup. And then I know a lot of people ask me how I got here, so I'm just going to do that little quick story. So I've been with the orphanage for about 8 months now. I am extremely privileged and happy for the position that I've got, and it honestly still feels like a dream sometimes. So 8 months ago, that was the beginning of August last year, I actually started as a volunteer. I had come in to fill in for a staff member that was on sick leave, and I stayed here as a volunteer for I think about 2 months. Shortly after leaving, I was only home for a couple of days. I got a phone call and said that one of the staff members is actually leaving, and would I be interested in filling in that position and coming back as an employee. And of course I was beside myself happy. Straight away said yes, sorted out my flights because I'd actually gone home. I was in another province, sorted out my flights and came back as soon as possible. And then I stayed just as a caretaker for a couple of months, and then when our previous coordinator or manager left, they asked me to step in and fill that position. yeah, it still feels like a dream for me, honestly. I can't believe that this is where I am, but I at the same time can't imagine being anywhere else. My Rhino babies are my absolute life. But yeah, I know everyone's most exciting things that they want to know about the projects is they always want to hear stories about individual rhinos, and I feel like the best story that I can personally share with you guys is the story of Zimmy, because Zimmy, I was actually here when she came. The other rhinos have been here since before I started, so Zimmy's the only new arrival since I've personally started, and so hers is just the easiest story to tell, and almost my favorite story to tell, just because I've been involved with it from day one. So Zimmy, her full name is actually Zimmy Sile. She is our youngest baby that I was telling you about earlier, and she's about, I actually think she's about 9 or 10 months now. I know I said 8 months earlier. Sometimes I just lose track of what's going on, but she came when she was about 7 months old, so time-wise, yeah, she's a little bit older now. So little Zimmy arrived at the orphanage on the 17th of January. And it was actually very unexpected. So that morning we were actually busy dehorning our other baby. So for security reasons, we do keep our animals dehorned. This just, limits the security risk and the appeal of anyone wanting to come in for them. So we were busy with our dehorning, which almost worked out really well when you think about it, because our vet was already on site. So while we were busy doing this, we got a phone call and basically said there's an orphan on the way, you guys need to start preparing. So yeah, we kind of all went, I wouldn't say panic mode, but everyone kind of worked out, okay, these people are going to continue with the dehorning, these people are going to go set up, and kind of gave everyone their positions and just got to doing everything as fast as we could. And of course we knew nothing about this rhino. All we had been told was a orphan is on its way. We didn't know its age, we didn't know its condition, we didn't know anything yet. So we were a little bit nervous to see, what was actually going to arrive into our care. But yeah, so we set up everything. We actually managed to finish the dehornings, which was quite nice. The orphan was coming from a little bit further away, obviously with game reserves and stuff, it is quite far in between to get from one to the other. And yeah, when she arrived, she was in quite low condition. She was very skinny. She actually did look a bit younger. When we first estimated how old she was, we would have guessed maybe 4 to 5 months. But after spending a little bit more time with her and working with her, we aged her at about 6-7 months. And that was obviously in January. So now, yeah, she's pushing 9-10 months. So what actually happened was the mother, they did an autopsy the next day. They had found the body of the mother when they found her, and they did an autopsy of her, and they found the mother actually died of an infection. So the mother had an old puncture wound in her side, and it actually went into some of her organs, and this got infected and got septicemia, and this is the reason that the mom passed away. And what we kind of realized, or educated guess of ours, is that because the mom was so sick and her immune system was down, that she actually stopped producing milk and wasn't giving Zimmy milk in the last few months, weeks, days. We're not sure how long, but the last little while Zimmy wasn't actually getting milk from her. And so what was quite an interesting thing, especially as it being the first new arrival or new calf that I was dealing with, it was quite interesting to see how much she didn't want milk. She was drinking water perfectly fine. She would drink water out of a water trough. She would eat the grasses that we provided for her, as well as eating on natural grass, but she was not at all interested in the milk. Not bottles, not milks in buckets, nothing. She just showed absolutely no interest in it. And I think it ended up taking me and my other carers about a month and a half before we got her to drink like her first sip of milk. And I still remember that day. It was like, oh, it was such a crazy day. I remember phoning my mom actually and just being like, you're not going to believe it, like it finally happened. But yeah, so that took us quite a while, and it was just, yeah, a trial and error process. Especially for me, it was so new for me. And so what we actually started doing is we took the milk powder and we mixed it with rhino pellets. We like crushed the rhino pellets into a powder and lucerne, which is one of the greener grasses that they like, and we crushed all of this together and kind of made like almost balls or little like a paste that she could eat, and she started eating that from us. And slowly we started putting more milk powder and less of the other ingredients, if you want to call them, so making it more and more milk. And then once it was almost 100% milk, what we did is we started just making that thinner and thinner until eventually we offered her a dish of milk, and by our surprise she actually drank from it. I mean, it wasn't one of those movie moments where you put it in front of her and she just drank straight away. Like, I would be feeding her the milk powder and putting my hand in the bowl slowly until it kind of forced her to put her lips into the bowl, and then she drank it. And oh, it was honestly like one of the best moments of my life. And it just, you know, it reminded me how grateful and happy I am to be where I am and this amazing opportunity that I'm having. And so no, yeah, now she is drinking 18 liters a day. So she got put on 20 originally, and as she started gaining weight, we've seen that she's been doing very well and she's quite healthy. We was dropping her down. So I always found it very fascinating when I first started. So the most amount of milk a baby rhino ever drinks is when it's at 5 months old, and it will drink up to 24 to 25 liters a day. So from, you know, a day old up to 5 months old, the amount increases, and then once they reach 5 months old, you'll start decreasing from then this 24 liters a day until they weaned off at about 18 months. So yeah, it's really awesome. And then obviously if you guys have any questions, I would love to answer questions, try my best. If there are questions that I can't answer, of course I will have to get back to you later. Some of you, while you guys, you know, get your questions in mind and start asking them, I'll maybe just go through some of the most frequently asked questions I have. So one of the main questions I get asked, of course, is, are rhinos the only animals that you care for? So obviously, as I mentioned in the beginning, we do have two. Sorry, I think I cut out there quickly. So what I was saying was one of the most frequent questions that I get asked is, are rhinos the only animals that we care for? And as I said in the beginning, we do have 2 hippos under our care. So obviously we are specialized in rhinos. Rhinos are our main goal, especially with funding. We rely fully on donations. So a lot of the times, you know, people will donate towards rhinos. So of course they want their money to go to helping rhinos because they are such a well-known creature and such a endangered creature. People are, you know, when they do donate, that's what they specifically want their money to go towards. So because of this, we do try and keep our focus on rhinos. But of course, we're never gonna just, you know, if an animal gets brought to us or something like that, we're never gonna just like chuck it out and say no. Of course not. We will be prepared to look after any animal that is in need of care. So as I mentioned, we do have our 2 hippos at the moment. But then yeah, if any other animal gets brought into us, what generally happens is, depending on the species, we may care for it. Like hippos, for instance, we do have experience with them, and we have other hippos that they can get put with. If it was something like an elephant, for instance, I know this has happened in the past while I wasn't here, we'll act as a holding facility. So basically, if the elephant or whatever animal it is found and we're the closest center or people that can look after it, we might take it in for a night or 2, just while we're organizing with other facilities, better suited facilities, for transport to that facility. So we'll act as a holding pen and keep them stabilized for as long as we need to, and then send them off somewhere that can give them more specialized care. Of course, every type of animal and every animal, the care for them is completely different. So the care you would need to give an elephant, for example, elephants are always just my easiest example, is completely different to the care that we're giving to our rhinos. And so it's just so much better to send them to a facility that is properly equipped for that, especially things that are, you know, more social animals and need to be able to interact with their own kind. We don't have elephants, for instance, so for us to keep a baby elephant at our facility, it's unfair on that animal, as it, you know, other people can do a better job. And then the same goes for anything like carnivores or anything like that. We're not equipped to look after those animals, so we are not able to do that. I see some questions are coming through. Nirvana just asked, was Zululand Rhino Orphanage featured in the documentary Strip? So Strip was actually based off of, well, not based, but Strip included the other orphanage that I mentioned at the beginning, the orphanage that was attacked in